What's up everybody, and welcome back to another video on SAT Math from the Scalar Learning channel. This video is for everybody who's looking for some last minute tips to make a substantial boost to their score. So without further ado, I present 6 killer tips to jump your score by more than 100 points. And all you gotta do is take these tips and put them into action tomorrow. Let's do it. So first of all, what does it mean to jump your score by 100 points? Well, not all questions are made equal in terms of where you fall on the curve. So in some cases, depending if you're quite low down on the curve, you might need 10 additional questions to jump 100 points. And in some cases, you may only need 7 questions to jump 100 points. Bear that in mind as we go through each of these tips. But remember, each of these tips could lead to multiple additional questions answered correctly. This could be more than a 100-point jump. This could be a 150-point jump or even greater. So take notice of everything that I say, write it down, and see if you can put it into action on the SAT. Tip number 1 is to write everything out. This is so important in a multitude of problems. For example, if you're dealing with geometry problems, you want to fill in all the diagrams, make sure to write out the numbers, the angles, whatever they're talking about, put it into the diagram so you can get a full picture. It's so much easier for your brain to work through the problem and see all the little nuances when it's all written out in one place. Moreover, if you have a table data problem, or if you have a problem that's giving you different values related to different variables, you want to chart all that out in whatever format is most comfortable for you. You don't want to be referring back to these big chunky paragraphs to try and keep pulling out information, especially when you're doing these multi-step problems. Tip number 2, if factored FOIL, if foiled factor. So this is a really great one, especially when you're dealing with quadratics and your back's against the wall, you don't know what to do. So what I always say is, on the really tough ones, if you're stuck and you're not sure what to do, simply factor if it's not factored. And if it's already factored, just FOIL it out. This is especially great when you're trying to figure out missing constants from 2 equivalent quadratics on either side of an equation. Usually one's going to be factored, one's not. So take the factor side, FOIL it, boom, and then you'll start to figure it out. Another place where this comes into play is when they ask, hey, which equation shows me the x-intercepts, okay? So that's a case where you just gotta factor like normal. Another case is they might say, which answer choice shows the quadratic, where you can readily see the vertex via the constants in the equation. That's an indication that you need to complete the square, factor it out, and put it into vertex form. Tip number 3, know the formulas that you need. So there's a number of formulas that are gonna be super important on this test, and if you don't know those formulas, you can check this image out right here. This is straight from my Instagram page, and I've been talking about these formulas for a long time. I also have another video that you can check out with these same formulas where you can see me explain them. So it depends on whether you just want the printout or you want to watch the explanation and definition of each of the formulas. If you get to a question that requires one of these formulas and you simply don't know it, you're gonna be stuck. Tip number 4, as important as it is to know the formulas you need, you also gotta know the formulas that you have. On both math sections, the SAT provides you with this amazing little cheat sheet of formulas primarily related to geometric concepts. They also have radians to degrees and all that good stuff. So you want to make sure you know what's on that sheet so you don't waste time trying to memorize those formulas. Moreover, you want to be familiar with it, so if it comes to a question that requires one of these formulas, you know that you can find it at the front of the section. Tip number 5, when stuck on the multiple choice, jump to the free response. Now, this comes into play in particular when we're talking about the multiple choice later on in these test sections. For example, in the no calculator section, when you get to questions 11 through 15, they can definitely tend to get quite tricky, more time intensive. If you're feeling stuck and if you're feeling like you're slowing down, jump to the free response, specifically 16 through 18. Those are generally going to be a little bit easier. You can nab some points, then maybe go back to those or finish off the free response, whatever you prefer. Likewise, on the calculator section, from around 25 to 30 is gonna get really difficult. So again, if you wanna jump ahead and hit the free response, you're welcome to do so. 31 through 34 are generally pretty easy, so you can nab those points. And the other thing is, you wanna make sure that you don't run out of time before you hit those easier questions, those easier spots, because those are great points and you wanna get them. Finally is tip number 6, when your back is against the wall, plug in. Now, I gotta admit, I'm a bit old school when I like to solve these tests. I like to know the math and I sort of do things the way that they're meant to be done, algebraically or geometrically, etc. But when you get to a point and you're really not figuring something out, go to the answer choices and go ahead and plug them in. This is an old tip that I believe gets way too much hype. It is great, but I do advocate knowing the math. That being said, when you're in a really tough spot and you don't know what to do and you need that extra assistance, go to those answer choices and start plugging them in and see which ones work. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please click that like button. And if you want to see more from the Scalar Learning channel, make sure to click subscribe. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you in the next video. Take it easy.